So I said I wouldn't be doing too many more of these now that I know how to, actually, well, I'm not gonna say I never knew how to edit before, but I've been editing videos, I guess. Anyway, topic of discussion today is more karate oriented, and this one is about kata. Specifically, it's about the tendency for people who are more interested in things like kyokushin, things that sort of give less emphasis to kata and more emphasis to like full contact sparring. The tendency for people who don't like kata to claim that is useless. Here's my potentially controversial opinion. People who think kata are useless are people who suck at getting anything out of kata. It's not the kata that's bad, it's the practitioner that's bad. Right? It's that simple. Kata is as good for a practitioner as the practitioner who practices it. That's a very complicated sentence. That was a lot of practitioners were thrown around there, but you get my point. Kata is as useful for a practitioner as the practitioner is. Alright, so here's the thing. People complain, oh, we have to repeat Pinan Sandan a million times. Or we have to repeat Pasai like 50 million times. And we get nothing out of it. I'd rather be doing kumite. And here's the thing. Kumite is useful. Yeah, it's application of, in most cases, watered down technique. Because most people want Jiu kumite with, you throw your kisamiski, your reverse punch, your freaking forward kick, your roundhouse, etc. Those sort of bottled and sold techniques, right? That you can always kind of tell that there's like a certain number of available options because there's a limited sort of scope of techniques available to you. Yakusoku kumite, not as popular. But kata is definitely useful. Kata, to me, as an English major, is like a text. It's a text that you interpret, and it's a text that you sort of explicate as you use it. As you do it, your body grasps the concepts that are enclosed within this physically embodied text. Right? So you do pasai 50 million times. You know why you do pasai 50 million times? You do it so that the motions and like the sort of body dynamics that underlie those specific motions become accessible. Now, kata is like a language. Every individual kata is like its own sort of, I would almost call it like an essay, right? And I'm gonna go back and use Paul Ricoeur again because he's always so useful. Paul Ricoeur has this thing where he talks about the difference between the semiotic and semantic content of language, right? So semiotic context is closed. It's at the level of words, lexemes, phonemes, etc. And there's always a finite amount of those. It's always a closed system. It's limited means. And semantics operates at the level of the sentence, the meeting of words with other words. And he says that sort of at the semantic level, a sentence is infinite possibilities constructed using finite means. Okay? Now, this is how I feel about kata. Every technique you do, this is gonna get a little bit weird. Every technique you do is like a sentence. The sentence contains body dynamics, and those body dynamics are like, your signs. They have a signifier and a signified, etc. And they can mean different things, but they are existing within a closed system of possible body movements, right? And the semantics of the body are your bunkai, right? Your application of the techniques. You can get infinite possibilities out of your finite means. And if you analyze a kata, if you actually take the time and you put the effort in to understand a kata instead of complaining about it and thinking, oh, this is boring, I'd rather be doing kumite, like, you can actually get something useful out of your kata practice. It's precisely the people who don't want to do kata, who believe kata is useless, who get the least out of it, and it becomes like a self-perpetuating cycle. I don't want to do kata because it's useless. Kata is useless because I don't do it enough, or I don't approach it in the right way. I don't approach it in the right way. I don't do it enough because I think it's useless. And it's a self-repeating, it's a repeating cycle. It's a positive feedback loop, or is that a positive? It may be a negative feedback loop. I am not entirely sure. But my point being, the analysis of a kata, like the analysis of a text, is highly rooted in how much you actually appreciate what it is you're doing. If you give a service reading of a text, you're not going to figure out what the text is. You're not going to come up with anything interesting, right? You have to close read a text just like you have to close read the movements of a body in the kata, right? When you close read, you get to kind of slow things down, take a look at what something could be, right? So that downward block may not be a block. You may not be blocking a kick. You may not be sweeping a kick away from your body. It could be in Naihan-chi, right? The downward block in Naihan-chi, I never apply that as a downward block. It's always some kind of like, I just got through grabbing the dude with my left hand, right? The first sort of part of Naihan-chi, the first couple techniques. I'm grabbing a dude with my hand who I just elbowed in the face, and I'm using the grip on him that I have with my other hand to pull him down to my side. And then I'm using the other hand to throw him away, right? It's like a two-handed throw. Things like that. That's not the only interpretation. This is the thing that other students, they don't get. There's never just one interpretation. There are plausible interpretations and implausible interpretations, right? Like with a text, you don't know the intentions of the person who made the kata. You don't know the intentions of the person who wrote the text, right? You can get a glimpse of it. You can kind of get a sense for it by what techniques flow in sequence. Just like you can kind of get a sense for what a possible meaning might be, a more likely meaning might be, based on the words that flow in a certain order or come after other words, certain words. The sequence of words kind of gives a hint to what decisions were made in formulating a sentence, in the same way that the sequence of techniques gives a hint into understanding what decisions went into formulating the kata or the set, right? Anyway, that was my rant for the day. Another unscripted, shaky camera, cell phone camera video. Hopefully this one was better. I try not to move around as much this time. And if you are interested in karate videos of this sort, and karate videos that are weird like this, that sort of equate katas to text, I'm an English major, I can't help it, then, subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments if this was cool. And hope you have an awesome day. Later.